You know, if you live out in the American West, drought is, well, it's just part of life, right? But what if I told you that the reason we're seeing these droughts has completely changed, right under our noses? There's this new force at play, and it's rewriting the entire rulebook for water out west. Let's dig in.
Okay, so when I say drought, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm guessing it's something like a cracked, dry lake bed, right? A sky with no clouds in sight. For pretty much ever, that was the whole story. No rain equals drought. Simple. But what if that's not the main problem anymore?
Right. So let's start with that classic story, the one we all know. The logic was always super straightforward. Droughts happen because, well, it doesn't rain or snow enough. End of story. And you know what? For most of the 20th century, the science totally agreed. It was crystal clear. The number one culprit, the main driver, was a precipitation deficit. Basically, not enough water falling from the sky. That's it. Simple cause and effect.
Okay, but here's where things get really interesting. That old story? It's just not the whole picture anymore. There's a new player in the game, a sort of hidden force that has totally changed the rules for drought in our modern era.
So to really get what's going on, you have to think of it like a battle between two forces. In one corner, you've got the old bad guy, precipitation deficit, just less rain and snow. But in the other corner, we have this new challenger, and it's called evaporative demand.
So what on earth is evaporative demand? Honestly, the best way to picture it is to think of the atmosphere as having a thirst. And as the air gets hotter and hotter, it gets thirstier. It acts like a giant sponge in the sky, just sucking moisture out of everything. The soil, rivers, lakes, even straight from the plants themselves. And the key here is that this thirst, this sponginess, it goes up like crazy as the temperature rises.
All right, so when did this new driver take over? Well, scientists have actually nailed it down to a specific moment in time. There was this major tipping point right around the year 2000. It's when the whole game changed.
And check this out, the numbers are pretty wild. If you look at the period before 2000, things looked exactly like you'd think they would. About 69% of a drought's severity came from a lack of precipitation. That thirsty atmosphere thing? It was a factor, sure, but a much smaller one, only about 31%.
But then look what happens after the year 2000. The roles, they just completely flipped. All of a sudden, that heat-driven evaporative demand, the thirsty atmosphere, is now responsible for 62% of a drought's severity. Lack of rain is now the secondary issue. I mean, that is a huge fundamental shift in what's going on.
And get this, it's not just about how severe the droughts are, it's also about how much area they cover. See, before 2000, a lack of rain was the main reason droughts were bad and the main reason they were big. But after 2000, that thirsty atmosphere took over on both fronts. So, to put it simply, the rising heat is making our droughts bigger and badder.
Okay, so let's make this real. Let's look at a case study of this new kind of drought in action. That really intense drought we saw across the West from 2020 to 2022.
And sure enough, the numbers from that event tell the news story perfectly. During that incredibly dry period, a whopping 61% of the drought severity was caused by that high evaporative demand. The thirst of the atmosphere was literally a bigger problem than the lack of rain.
But here's the part that really blows my mind. Scientists did this thought experiment. They asked, what would this drought have looked like without the warming caused by humans? And the results are stark. Without that extra heat, it would have been just a moderate drought. Not great, but manageable. But with that heat, the extra thirst in the air supercharged it into the exceptional disaster that it became. It's the difference between a bad day and a catastrophe.
So this isn't just about understanding the past. What we're seeing here is a glimpse into the future, a much, much drier future for the American West.
So why is this so important to grasp? Because that event, the one from 2020 to 2022 that felt like a once-in-a-generation disaster, well, it's on a trajectory to become, normal.
Just look at these projections. A drought on that level used to be considered a 1 in 1,300-year event. I mean, basically impossible in human terms. But the models show that by 2050, it could be a 1 in 60-year event. And by the end of the century, it could happen every 6 years. Let that sink in. From once every 1,300 years to once every 6. That's just staggering.
Okay, so let's just boil this all down. What are the big takeaways here? Number 1, the main cause of drought out west isn't lack of rain anymore, it's excess heat. Number 2, the big switch happened around the year 2000. Number 3, human-caused warming is the engine behind this change. And number 4, this means our future is going to have droughts that are hotter, more severe, and way more frequent.
And that leaves us with a really tough, really important question. For 100 years, our entire strategy for water has been about one thing: catching the rain and snow when it falls, building dams, reservoirs, all of that. But if the main problem is now the heat, this relentless thirst that pulls that water right back out, what do we do? How do we need to change how we manage water, how we live, to adapt to this brand new reality?